For decades, the most influential and revered Orthodox Jew in New York was Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the so-called Lubavitcher Rebbe and hereditary leader of the Chabad movement. Every politician in New York, Jew or Gentile, genuflected to the good rabbi. Schneerson died in 1992, but Hillary and Rick and the rest still pay tribute to him, expressing admiration for his wisdom and his piety. As a matter of fact, throughout his career, Schneerson preached the hatred of all non-Jews, which is inherent in Judaism. Other Orthodox Jews, such as Al Gore's vice presidential candidate Joseph Lieberman, are reticent about the more invidious aspects of their religion. In fact, they will simply lie to you about it if you question them. But Rabbi Schneerson wasn't reticent at all. He spelled it out for his followers in his lectures and his writings. He taught that non-Jews are subhuman, that they are like cattle, created by the Jewish God Yahweh only to serve the Jews. He taught this explicitly, openly, over a period of many years. I'll quote directly from one of Rabbi Schneerson's lectures. This is taken from a book of his lectures published in Israel in 1965. The English title of the book is Gatherings of Conversations. I quote, "This is what needs to be said about the body. The body of a Jewish person is of a totally different quality from the body of a member of any other nation of the world. The Jewish body looks as if it were, in substance, similar to the bodies of non-Jews, but the bodies only seem to be similar in material substance, outward look, and superficial quality. The difference of the inner quality, however, is so great that the bodies should be considered as completely different species. This is the reason why the Talmud states that there is an halakhic difference in attitude about the bodies of non-Jews. Their bodies are in vain. An even greater difference exists in regard to the soul. Two contrary types of soul exist. A non-Jewish soul comes from three satanic spheres, while the Jewish soul comes from holiness." End of quote. And there's much, much more in the same vein, although reading Rabbi Schneerson's lectures is not easy. Like the Talmud, they are full of hair-splitting, lawyer-like quibbling and references to obscure authorities. If you spend much time reading the Talmud and ask yourself what kind of people could be governed by such a strange religion, you'll likely come to the same conclusion both Rabbi Schneerson and I have come to. The Jews and we really are completely different species. The Jews of the New York Times and all of the other Jews covered for Schneerson, of course. No one ever denounced his teaching or called him a hater. Instead, he always was praised as a sort of living saint. And as I said, the Gentile politicians like Hillary Clinton and Rick Lazio, who really know better, still genuflect whenever his name is mentioned. And the Jews play right along. What contempt they must have for us. How easy it is to deceive us. And how easy it is to bleed us. When a U.S. Navy destroyer, the USS Cole, was attacked in the Red Sea last week and nearly 20 American sailors were killed, not one government official was willing to place the blame where it belonged. Mr. Clinton's Jewish Secretary of Defense was on television promising that he would search to the ends of the earth to find and punish the people responsible for the attack. Hey, Mr. Cohen, you don't have to search that far to find those responsible for the deaths of our sailors. The Jews have been murdering Palestinian children for the past 3 weeks with the support of your government. The Jews have been firing rockets into Palestinian apartment buildings from helicopter gunships supplied to Israel by your Defense Department. Last week, 70 U.S. senators signed a resolution of support for this sort of Jewish behavior. That was the Senate of which you used to be a member before you became Secretary of Defense. It was you who sent the USS Cole into harm's way in order to maintain a blockade of Iraq, a blockade which in no way serves American interests, but which is demanded by Jews because Iraq is an enemy of Israel. Mr. Clinton came on television and said that our ship wasn't on a hostile mission. You certainly understand, Mr. Cohen, even if Mr. Clinton doesn't, that blockading another country with a warship is a hostile action. It is an act of war. Did you really expect all of the non-Jewish people of the Middle East being victimized by the United States, acting on behalf of the Jews, to simply sit on their hands forever and let themselves continue to be victimized? No, you really didn't expect that, did you, Mr. Cohen? You knew that eventually the victims of your government's policies would fight back. But you didn't really care so long as Jews didn't get killed. You and your fellow Jews, both in this country and in Israel, are responsible for the attack on the USS Cole, and you know it. But still, you go on television and refer to the attack as an act of terrorism and the attackers as cowards. Two brave men stand at attention as they willingly sacrifice their lives in order to strike a blow for their people in the only way they can, and you call them cowards and terrorists. Ah, Mr. Cohen, you and your fellow Jews really do have contempt for our intelligence, don't you? One of these days, we will make you understand that there are a few of us who aren't lemmings, a few of us who can see with our own eyes and hear with our own ears and figure things out for ourselves. That will be the day when we begin settling the score with those who have been deceiving and corrupting and bleeding our people for so long. Thanks for
the traditional Jewish wedding dance. You want everyone that's in the wedding party to get up and dance around. It's called a hora. So the bride and the groom and the shpukas and everybody, you get up and you dance and you have a good time. Hava nagila, hava nagila, hava nagila, Venus necha. Hava nagila, hava nagila, hava nagila, Venus necha. Hava niranina, hava niranina, hava niranina, Venus necha. Hava niranina, hava niranina, hava niranina, Venus necha. Urachim nesameya, urachim nesameya, urachim nesameya, urachim nesameya, urachim nesameya. Urachim nesameya, urachim nesameya, urachim nesameya, urachim nesameya, urachim nesameya. Everybody dance. It's a Jewish wedding. It's a time for celebration. Later on, you worry about what's going to happen. Now you have fun. Dance it out. Hava niranina, hava niranina, hava niranina, Venus necha. Hava niranina, hava niranina, hava niranina, Venus necha. Ooh, 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 ooh. ואחים, אורחים ומשמח, אורחים ומשמח, אורחים ומשמח, אורחים ומשמח, אורחים ומשמח.